I'm just coming in to do a quick video for you for those who are interested in doing one-on-one work with me. So for those who don't know, my name is Laura Schulz. I am the founder of Tricky Nutrition. I'm a clinical nutritionist and I live in Australia. So I do have a lot of clientele overseas and in Australia. So I just wanted to pop in and do this video just to sort of put your mind at ease when it comes to committing to a health program or just committing to a new health practitioner and seeing somebody new. So especially if you live overseas, it's like handing over money and you're like, I don't even know if this person can help me. And that's just if it's just a normal, run of the mill disorder. Obviously, for those who are suffering with trichotillomania, you will know that this is a chronic disorder. There's not a lot of help out there. You've often wasted a lot of money on, fidget toys or hats or beanies or therapists, counselors, doctors, all of these things that may not have helped you in the past. You may have also been a part of trick support groups on Facebook or online and read a lot of things that don't give you a lot of hope. So I just wanted to do this video just to sort of put your mind at ease when it comes to committing to looking for those underlying deficiencies and imbalances, and just to sort of let you know the process that I take clients through after they sign up for me. So what will happen, you've probably had either an email conversation, or a message through Facebook or Instagram with me. I've probably let you know what packages I've got going at the time. So sometimes I'll have some 3 or 4 month packages, sometimes smaller. The package that is my main package is usually at least 5 sessions long. Unfortunately, it's not a take this pill and I will fix you. It is something where we're trying to treat those underlying deficiencies and imbalances that have usually been around for a while. Often I'm getting clients that have been pulling their hair for years and years. So I did it for 26 years before I was in my own trick recovery. But often I've also got children that have only been pulling for a couple of years. So it really does depend. But yeah, it's still just not something that's going to go away after a first session, although we can get some good insights after our first session together. So often the main one that most people commit to my Freedom in 5 package, which is 5 sessions. So, and what happens is once we sign up for the session, you either pay in full or a payment plan, which is usually a monthly payment plan. What we do is you'll get sent an invitation to Practice Better, which is the practice software management that I use. It's the software that I use. So you'll get an invite to that. It's great because they've actually got an app. So it means you can keep all your client notes, treatment plans, diet diaries, anything that I send through to you, blood test results, blood test analysis, anything that we have, you've got access to on your phone or on your computer at any time. We also do message communication through Practice Better, so it keeps it all in one place for when we're messaging each other. So then what we do, you'll get an invitation to that. So you'll just create your own profile for that, which is usually just requires your email address. We usually put your time zone in there so that when you're booking in sessions that it's in your own time zone. You don't want to be in my time zone if you're on the other side of the world. And then what we do, after you've created that profile, you'll automatically be sent an intake form, which is just a few pages of just some general health medical information from you. And then you'll also be sent, there's a liability form, like just all the legal stuff that you just have to sign electronically. And then you'll also get a 3-day food journal, which you can just fill out anytime before the first session. It's not something that you have to fill out straight away. It's just nice to get an idea of what your diet's like before our first session together. After you've done all that and made a payment, whether you're doing payment plan or invoice, you'll be sent an invite to book your first session. So the first session is usually 90 minutes. I know it's a very long one. I try not to book more than one of these in one day because it is a lot for me as well. And I understand that it's a lot for you. So usually with people that I might be seeing that don't have trick, that session's usually about 60 minutes. Okay. So I allow an extra 30 minutes to talk all things hair pulling and trick and, to know what it's been about, any other sensory issues and other things that have been going on previous to you pulling now. So it'll be your whole history of hair pulling. So there might be nail biting, there might be head banging, there might be teeth grinding, there might be all these other things that have happened as well before. And basically from when you were a baby to where you are now. So if that's someone who is in their 40s, obviously there's a bit of history and to see how it's progressed and how it's gone up and down, or if it's progressively got worse, all the things that you've tried, those sort of things, just so I can see what's worked, what hasn't, what worked for a little bit and then stopped working, those sort of things. So that's what we do in our first session. It's a lot of questions. So we go through every single system in the body. So immune system, nervous system, reproductive system. We go through all the systems. Then we also cover energy, sleep, your diet and exercise. So there's a lot of questions in that first session. And during it, as we go along and as you're answering questions, what happens is we'll generally get some insights. So you'll really get some insights in that first session where I'll be like, I think that's got something to do with it. I think that's where we need to be looking. I think that's what we need to be doing. Those sort of things. And we'll tweak a couple of things during there to say, I think you should try this. I might recommend you do a longer food journal to see if there's any more food correlations, if there's any food sensitivities, those sort of things. So after that session, that 90 minutes, I'll be writing notes the whole way through. After that session, I collate all of those notes that I've taken and I write a fairly basic treatment plan for you. So the treatment plan, obviously we don't know all the underlying deficiencies yet. We haven't looked at any blood tests. So what I do is I send this treatment plan to you. In that we'll have, there might be just a few little changes that I think you should make. It might be to have something different for breakfast, have dinner a little bit earlier, get to sleep a little bit earlier, get you out in the sun a little bit more, just simple things like that that might help to start with. And then also in that treatment plan will be the blood tests that are required. So I do like to look at blood tests, little bit of a pathology nerd, and would like to see all of those indicators so that I can really see what's going on and what's underlying. So you'll go away, you'll go and get that done. You might do another 7-day journal. You'll probably be thinking about all the things that I've talked about in that session. There may be a few new revelations. You might be talking to your mum or, or a family member that might say, oh, you used to twirl your hair when you were this, or you used to do, or you've ground your teeth for years, or, all these new sort of things will come up where you go, oh, I didn't realize that was all relevant. One of the things I hear all the time is like, oh, I don't know if it's relevant, but, and I'm always very, very keen to go, it's always relevant. It's definitely always relevant. So I like to look at everything. So all the family history, medical history, everything that you can tell me, I want to know. So I feel it's all relevant. And it's like, for me, it's like putting a trick puzzle together. So the next thing happens is, so you'll do that over that 2 to 3 weeks. Often it'll take around that time. Some people take a little bit longer to get blood tests done and those sort of things. Then once you get the blood test done at your doctor, so you go to the doctor, you request to get the blood test, then you'll go to the pathology place to get your blood test done. And then obviously, usually it takes a few days. Sometimes it's quicker to get blood test results. So once you get those results, often you have to go to the doctor to get the results. Sometimes they'll just send them through to you. And then what you do is you upload them to Practice Better, which is that practice management software that I was talking about. You upload them there. So if you can't upload them, I know some people just like, I don't know where to upload the PDF or change it to a PDF or whatever it might be. But worst comes to worst, we just take photos of it all and you just send me photos. So that's fine. And then what happens is you book in. So once we've got those results, I'll say, okay, let's book you in for your next session. So you'll get a link to book your next session. So the next session is a 45-minute blood test consultation. So that's where we go through all of it, all of your blood test results. So, and what happens is I like to analyze these before our next session. So it's good for you to upload them at least a few days before so that I know that I've got time to analyze them. I put them in, I've got a little spreadsheet that I like to put them in to see exactly what's optimal and what's not. Because I'm not looking just for absence of disease. I'm not looking at what the pathology lab thinks is good or not. I'm looking at my own reference ranges and to know and putting it all together. This high liver enzyme could mean this, or, white blood cells being high can mean this. There's different things that I'm looking for that pathology labs and doctors are not, just because of how I'm trained in nutrition. So with my nutrition degree. So then what I do is I create a report. So I create a report. It's a blood test analysis report that explains all of those indicators that are out of range. And then I also put a summary down the bottom that tells you exactly what I think is going on. And then what I do is I don't just hand you the report. I actually sit there and I go through all of that with you in that 45-minute session. So we sit down together for that 45 minutes. Usually online chat. I don't have many local clients, so it's usually online. So I say sit down, but obviously virtually. And we go through it all. So you get to ask questions, do the thing. Whatever you need to ask, I'm there to answer for you. Often if there's other disorders or other medications or other things going on, then we can discuss those while we're there. Then after we finish that, I will put together, so I look again at the blood test analysis report and I write a personalized treatment plan for you. So that'll go by what I think's going on. So if there's nutrient deficiencies that I think need a certain amount of supplementation to get them optimal, that's what we're going to do. I'm going to try to move as quick as possible. So we call it a therapeutic dose. So I might be giving you a therapeutic dose of something, or sometimes we go low and slow. It really depends on what supplement it is, how old the person is, whether there's other things going on. As I mentioned, it's all personalized to you. So if you've got a certain thing that, where you can't, like stomach acid might be really low. So we've got to work on that to get the nutrients in, that sort of thing. So that's where we sort of go with it. I can't stress enough how much it's all personalized to you. I'm not giving the same treatment plan to each person. I definitely see some different trends going on when it comes to trichotillomania. So there's a lot of deficiencies and imbalances that are quite common. And I obviously share a lot of that on my social media pages. But, often when it comes to personalized stuff, like we want to make sure, I've got breastfeeding clients, I've got vegan clients, I've got vegetarian clients, I've got clients with hemochromatosis, I've got clients with thyroid issues. Like I have to take into account, obviously, a lot with medications, whether it be antidepressants or ADHD medication. Like there's a lot of different things that I have to factor in when I sit down and do a treatment plan for you. Then what I do is I send that treatment plan through to you. You can order the supplements and then you stay in touch. So it's not just you go away and then come and see me again in 4 to 6 weeks. So with that Practice Better app, there's communication, there's message communication through that. And in that, I send voice and text messages to you and you can send them return to me. So anything that you think of or anything that you're not sure of, you can send me a message, a voice message or a text message anytime. Obviously, if you're on the other side of the world and I'm asleep, I won't get it until the next day. But I do try to check my messages every business day. So every Monday to Friday, I check them at least once. Okay. So usually if you're on the other side of the world, I'll usually say you'll get a response within 48 hours, but I'm usually pretty on it, and I still usually check it on weekends because I can't help myself. So, and if it's something really simple that I can answer straight away, I generally will. But if it's not something I can answer straight away and I want to give you a longer response, I might wait until Monday, like say it's over the weekend. I might wait until Monday to send you a full voice message to explain exactly what's going on. So I don't leave you high and dry. I don't leave you with here's your supplements, here's your what you should be doing with your diet, and just go, let's see what you can do. I'm there for you the whole way. And then what we do is once you've been on supplements, I like to catch up with you between 4 and 6 weeks after. So the third session is usually booked in within 4 to 6 weeks of you starting the supplements. So once you get that treatment plan, you might get that a couple of days after that second session that we've had. Then I might give you a week until, you might take you a few days or a week to get the supplements organized. And then what I do is you let me know that you've got the supplements and we try to already book it in. So I try to book it in around that 5-week mark. So anywhere between 4 and 6 weeks, I'll like you at least taking them for 4 weeks before we meet again. And then obviously we might message each other a few times during that time. Sometimes more, sometimes less. It just really depends on how you're responding to the treatment. If there's a supplement that's making you feel nauseous, you might let me know. I might say, let's take it at this time of day, or let's make sure we're taking it with food, or let's take it with this instead. Like there's just those little tweaks and different things that we can do with your treatment. And I often do say is that message support in between the sessions, I feel like that's the most important thing. I do love seeing everyone face to face with the catch-up sessions when we do, but I think staying in contact and having that contact in between sessions is really where the magic happens, to be honest. So, and I feel like that's my point of difference from if you're going to see a therapist or a doctor or a counselor, is I'm available in between those sessions. So, and that's how I've set up these packages. That is why they might be a little bit more than just having a session here, a session there, a session there, because I want to be able to help you in between those sessions. So then we have the third session. So some of my packages are only 3 sessions, but often I usually recommend my minimum of the 5 sessions. Just so we've got more follow-up. So we might follow up on that third session. We catch up for 30 minutes. It's how are you going? What can we tweak? What can we change? What's working? What's not? And then after that session, it's the same thing again. We write a new treatment plan. There might be something that we lower the dose of because we've been on it long enough now. We might up the dose of something because I think, all right, I was being a little bit conservative to start with, but you're obviously handling that much of this supplement. Let's up it again. Like you'll tell me basically, usually in those follow-ups, you'll fill me in on how your sleep's going, how your periods are going, if you are getting a period, how you're going with any of your medications, and basically how you're pooing, because I want to know that too. So there's usually a lot of digestive issues, and even for people who say they don't have digestive issues, there usually still is. So, often people think, well, I'm never nauseous, I don't get reflux and I don't get bloated. But if you're not pooing every day, or if it's not the right color, or if it's, there's undigested food, or obviously if we've got nutrient deficiencies, usually the gut's not absorbing nutrients properly. So there's some issue there. So usually it's something, to do with the gut. So I'm usually asking along those lines for those questions. Funny that, being a clinical nutritionist and all. And then what we do is we're still doing that in between sessions. And if you're in that 5 sessions, so I call it my Freedom in 5 package, there's another 2 follow-ups where we continue to do treatment, we continue to see improvements, that sort of thing. So often, urges will go from, say we're sitting, usually most people will start with me when their pulling gets completely out of control. So usually their pulling's that 10 out of 10. I usually get them to rate it out of 10. So it's usually between an 8 and a 10 out of 10. We can usually get it down to about a 4 or a 5 after we've started our supplements. We've seen a reduction in how often we're pulling. We've seen a reduction in the intensity of the urges. And so now we're looking at just making improvements because it does take a while for the gut to heal. It takes a while for the immune system to heal. It takes a while to get liver detoxification happening properly. It takes a while to lower inflammation. So all of these things take time. It takes time to, replete these nutrients that we may have been void of for a long time. So, so often we've had food sensitivities or things that have been, not been great for our gut, and they've done a bit of damage. It takes a while to heal the gut. So, and get that right microbiome happening, to make sure we've got the right stomach acid, we've got the right, gut microbiome happening in our gut so that we're actually absorbing nutrients, our immune system's working well, the brain neurotransmitters are, serotonin 90% is made in our gut. We need that, right? So all of these things take time, and that's what those last few sessions are for, is to get that more improvement. So like I said, we often get that improvement of, getting to less intensity of urges, less frequency, but I want the holy grail. I want you not pulling. So we're going to keep going. So yes, I do the 3-session package, but often that's a bit of a Kickstarter and to get going. I will say probably a third of my clients probably don't need after 3 sessions because, often there might be just a really big vitamin D deficiency or a really big folate. Obviously, methylation might be an issue. So folate was really, really low. And as soon as they're getting a decent dose of folate and taking out synthetic folic acid, they might get results straight away. Or there could be, I've even had results from someone who, was mainly doing it after too much caffeine and gut issues, and we sorted out the having caffeine in the morning with food, and I've had another one that was having tomatoes and was having a real big reaction to tomatoes and took tomatoes out, and they're like, oh, the pulling's pretty much gone away. We've done that after 1 session. So it can happen where 1 to 3 sessions is actually enough, and it is enough of an eye-opener. But the reason that I promote the 5-session package most often, because most often or not, that is what is needed. And I want to get the results for you. And just on a side note about my own trick recovery, I've been in it for 3.5 years, almost 4 years now. And in hindsight, when I look at it, the last 2 years have been completely different to that first 18 months. So that first 18 months, yes, I felt recovered. Yes, but I probably still played with my hair a little bit. I probably still had the urges, even though it was low urges, they were probably still there. Whereas now it's not. So it's just, when you look at it in hindsight, it's slowly getting better and better, So I don't know. It's hard to explain, but I'm trying my best. But yes, it just takes time. So, and I still feel like it's something that I've got to keep on. I've got Hashimoto's, I've got an autoimmune disorder. If I let my thyroid go out of balance, I worry that it'll come back. I see a lot of thyroid issues and the thyroid imbalances in my clients. And I do feel if we can get that sorted, and when it comes to thyroid health, gut health is huge. So it's just about that. So that's sort of in a nutshell. I would love to hear any questions. I am going to post this on YouTube and on my social media channels. And you may get sent this if you ask questions about my packages and how they work. But that in a nutshell, sort of encapsulates, the support that I give you when you do commit to one of my packages and how the process sort of works. So thank you so much if you're still watching. This ended up a little bit longer than I thought, but thanks so much for watching.